Klondike ice cream bars. You get big servings, big taste, big cream.
Imagine
5 big, moist, delicious ounces of big, hot ice cream. And a coating made with beautiful
milk,
chocolate so you can
pour
big cream.
like I've never had it.
Klondike, big bar, big cream.
Yo. That guy's doing this fine evening. Whomst was first? It was Arterius by a long shot. Jim Minis came in there way early, like something like a half an hour before I started, but Arterius got him. You're cursed. You can pass it off if you wish. Shorty Paint Studios is also here. Oh, fellow Diabolo player. Interesting. So much YouTube content. Yeah, speaking of, if I'm allowed to advertise my own content on my own stream, what we have here is Heywoah Plus. It's a meme. But it's a meme for memes. This is where we put the memes. This is where we put the clips. This is where we put the VODs for previous videos because Twitch deletes them. And also this is where a bunch of the Persona stuff is. SG Arcade is the one who uploads them and edits them for the most part. So, hey. Go there and click the fucking buttons if you wish. Anyway, Albjorn, TY for the tier 1. I appreciate it. 14 months, not bad. Oh, wait, sorry. 15 months? Oh, sorry, my fault. Anyway, thanks to the tier 1. Artorius, thanks to the 100 bits. Appreciate it. Transistor music? Yeah, Lord Whale. Transistor is one of my favorite games, probably. Top 10 or something like that. I love the art. I love the music. I like the story, characters. It's a bit short, but it's more of like a movie that you play than a game. Kind of like reminded me of Full Throttle back in the day, which is somewhat of a movie that you play, you know? I liked it. Bits. Gameplay was simple enough. Sub badges when? When I do them. You want me to go making sub badges, huh? Alright, well I probably should. To be TBH. Ortorius thinks of the 250 bits. Are you interested in older women? Yeah, well you can find out on Heywoah Plus. You can find out on Heywoah Plus. Ahem. You like the PC release of Persona 4 Golden because you see a lot of textures you were never meant to look at? Yeah, that's fun. And mods, and people can dig into the game files and find all sorts of Easter eggs and stuff. That's fun too. Has Bipus Bag-chan always been in the intro screen? Yes, she has. I put her there after, or maybe late into, the Persona 4 Golden Let's Play. I hit her in the corner there. And I think I'm just tickled by the fact that some people are just kind of noticing that now. I don't know who it was like a month ago. They're like, has a Heygow, like, face always been in the background with a super transparency over it? Yes. Yes, it always has. It's funny that people notice it this late. It's just wholesome. It's wholesome noticing, I guess. Speaking of good games, you're getting into Killer Instinct now. Dude, Killer Instinct is great. Yeah. It had the unfortunate bad luck of being locked onto the worst console of its generation that nobody bought. Which was unfortunate, but it was so much better of a brand new version of the ancient Killer Instinct 1 and 2 for like arcades and Super Nintendo and stuff, which were not very good games. And then, you know, new Killer Instinct comes out, and it had no business being as good as it was. It was so good, so interesting. I think you can play it on PC as of a certain amount of time, you know, in the olden days. It was a fun one. The announcer is so, like, there's so many memes in that game. The announcer is so good. Supreme victory, you know, that kind of stuff. And he's, like, shouting Ultra. Gets me every time. And the music is dope. The dude who did Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal did the music for Killer Instinct new version as well, and the soundtrack for original Killer Instinct way back in the day slapped as well. So that was sick. Yeah, Mick Gordon, that was the guy's. I couldn't remember the guy's name offhand. Your payment is how you judge your self-worth when people click and hit the buttons. Yeah. Yeah, also, if you want to give SG Arcade a little something for his work, you actually should go there and subscribe and watch all the videos, because he is going to be like, he makes the money from that channel. That's the deal. And so toss him a coin if you wish. You're big sad that you missed that playthrough. I'm big sad that I missed the fact that Twitch deletes their old VODs before that playthrough was done. I'm just like, yeah, I'll keep these forever. I'm going to make a video out of it someday. And then by the time I checked, there were like 2 of them left. It was just, they were all gone. And that's part of the reason why I made this VOD channel, so I can't, no longer will we lose videos on demand. I'll have proof. So, you know, all you can do is what you're able to do moving forward. And so that's what I've chosen to do. Ahem. The fun thing is that PC and Xbox have crossplay, so it's still got a large play base. Oh, that's good. That's good and nice. Is it like is it on like Game Pass or Windows, Microsoft Game something, or can I get it on Steam? Have you discussed the new roadmap in another stream? Yeah, but this is the roundup, Death 1942. This is a bit of a roundup because we covered some of it Friday, which is the EU time zone stream. We covered some of it Saturday as it was breaking news. It was, and I have a button for this. It was news you can trust, I guess. But it was Saturday. Who watches Saturday except for the diehard waifu enjoyers? Chad's all, obviously. And so this is a little bit of a roundup, a review. I'm going to do some lists probably because I'm interested in that. The FAQ for Fire Slayers and Aidna Deepkin came out, which means I will finally pay attention to them. I happen to own somewhat of an Aidna Deepkin army. And true to my word, do as I say because it is actually what I do sometimes. I've mostly ignored it until the FAQ came out, and now that it has, floodgates are open. What can we build? What are we going to build? And yeah, I'll talk about the new roadmap. Actually, you know what? Let's bring it up. Let's bring up the new roadmap, shall we? Big. All right, enhance. There we go. And so now we'll be chatting. We'll be chatting with that roadmap. Oh, look at how perfectly it fits. Man, it's almost like this thing was designed for my little stupid HTML5 chat window here. Perfect. Perfection. How do you respond to the allegations that you hate waifus? Whomst are these allegations originating from? I declare that they don't know what they're talking about. Show me the tapes. Show me the proof. But also I'm 12, and what's a waifu? So, complicated thoughts on the matter. There's still STD stuff we haven't covered as well. Yeah, I heard about that, Rob74, and I think it is pinned in the GigaBrain content engine by the GigaBrain content engineers, and so we'll go over that as well. I might start with that because that's brand spanking new, at least for this show. And then I'm gonna do a Night Haunt roundup because we got like the initial reaction, but all right, it's been a day or two. I slept on it. Now let's go into a bit of a review. Revisit our notes. New Destro tomes are Sons of Behemoth and one new exclusively for Kragnos. Yeah. Yeah, that's the nightmare scenario, I guess. Ahem. it is in all likelihood ogres and geats. However, Games Workshop has done some crazy releases, like this one right here, whomst just got a book, it seems like yesterday. So, you know, they've done crazy things before. However, I think it's ogres and gits, and here's my source.
Why don't you back it up with a source? My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Anyway, looking forward to it, especially because I happen to play ogres, and so how nice. How nice indeed. And it means that Skaven Bros aren't in shambles because Slaves to Darkness that was leaked was winter. And so it could still be Skaven over here, which most people think. Maybe Khorne. Maybe Khorne. Although that could be this one. You're something of an Idoneth Deepkinner yourself? Oh yeah, Idoneth Deepkinner. Riddle me this, why are GW previewing Slaves to Darkness ahead of 6 books? Because it was a leak. It wasn't intended, but shit came out. And so they're like, well, I guess we'll release that article that we had already finished and was just waiting its turn in line to show. And so they produced that article, and then they made this thing. Damage control, essentially. Otherwise, they would just do things in order, because it's like the point of a battle tome roadmap, right? Khorne gonna be autumn? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking, but again, who knows? It's all gonna be the Flesh Eater Courts? I don't see any death tomes here, which is a bit sad, but, I mean, there were 2 underserved Grand Alliances they had to deal with. Destruction, which hardly exists, is in a whole and is a wholly NPC Grand Alliance, and then there is Death, which no one plays, but they're important to the campaign and the narrative. So, Skaven leak yet? Not that I've seen. No, not that I have seen. You can get KI on both Windows Games Pass and Steam, but only the Windows Games Pass version. Share the player pool with Xbox. Okay, so you want the player pool. You want the pool not to be closed. A GA that is an NPC when 3 is supposed to be about destruction going buck wild. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm talking feelings over facts here, and I'm speaking out of turn. Because there is a bunch of, like, narrative stuff happening with destruction at this moment. I mean, they came out with Kragnos. They airlifted him from out of nowhere and just plopped him in the Mortal Realms. And they're like, this dude's been here for 10,000 years and he's always been a big deal. Please believe us. Like, oh, okay, cool. Doom King Tristan, nice to see me live again. Yeah, I took yesterday off. Normally I stream yesterday, but I wanted to work on YouTube. Because that's like what anyone knows me from. And I feel like I should get on that. And very recently, I'll be able to work on it probably 2 days a week. So I'm hoping to record, I think Thursday. I'm hoping to record a video or 2 Thursday. And then it's only about 50 hours of editing, and then we're good. We're fucking good. Right around the corner. Gordrak got done dirty. True, actually. Top 10 anime betrayals for sure. Let me go to Gigabrain here. We got a PowerPoint or 2. We got some Slaves to Darkness stuff that I haven't talked about on stream yet. Where could it be? Let's see. Oh yeah, we got some War Scrolls. Ogoroid theradons. CSI enhance. There we go. Look at me cranking out those battle. Dude, they are cranking out the battle tomes. I mean, look at this. Everybody always whines about how 40K is the game that gets all the stuff, and Age of Sigmar, you know, underserved, blah blah blah, and you're tempted to say that these people are just being whiners. And I do. I just do say that. That is the truth. Yeah, they are just whining about it. 40K is a bigger game by 2 orders of magnitude, I would say. And probably 3 orders of magnitude if you talk about, maybe even 5. If you talk about like the cultural significance and extent of people who are just kind of interested in it, right? Nobody's heard of Age of Sigmar. Everybody knows 40K is worldwide. Like, it's just kind of a thing, right? So you would expect 40K to get this stuff first. And like, to me, that's fine. If I have to wait for Age of Sigmar stuff, I don't mind. Just make it good. And now, I mean, look at this. We got Fire Slayers, Eidenet Deepkin. Nighthaunt Daughters. Maybe Skaven, maybe Sylvaneth. Maybe Cities, maybe Khorne. Maybe Ogres, maybe Geats. Slaves to Darkness. Is that 12 battle tomes that have come out this year? 13? It's the dump. It's Raining Men. So I guess please enjoy, right? 12 tomes. Ahem. Oh, the PowerPoint? Oh, hold up. There's a professional PowerPoint? Excuse me. Oh yeah, these are updated, huh? Chaos Leaks? Let's check them out. Enable editing. Oh boy. Part 2. Man, I tell you, my mods carrying the show. Look at that. All right. Chaos Leaks. A PowerPoint that I will just click through like always. Huge. I'll give you a clap.
Please clap.
Not Chorf. It is time to panic. I see. Yeah. Horns of Hashut. Or if you prefer, Horns of Hashish. These, if anyone happens not to know, Chorf is Chaos Dwarf, affectionately named, aka Legion of Asgore, which was a quasi-squatted for a while. Not truly squatted, but it was like a Forge World thing that they weren't trying to take too much care of, and then eventually it got the axe, it got the cut. And there are fans of that army who would like it to return. Makes perfect sense to me. Hopefully in a less like, well, we won't go there. I'm sure the illustrations of the Russian dwarves hopefully are a little more respectful for the modern sensibilities, but all right. I mean, fine. Surely they will. Now, Horns of Hashut. This dude here doesn't appear to be a dwarf. Appears to be a human. Unless the guy's legs are just like right here. Unless the feet are exactly right here, then okay, maybe. But welcome to Has Hat. Yeah. Has Hat. It was supposed to be for Warhammer Fantasy, but they killed it right as Legion of Asgore came out. Oh, I see. Fans of Chorfs, who could that be? I mean, they're fewer and far between, but they exist. It was, for a while, kind of famous for being like the most expensive army you could buy. But not the best. Chaos Dwarf models look dumb, you can say it. Yeah. But also their art looked really dumb. In fact, their art reminded me of propaganda posters from Germany against Russia in 1941. 43 maybe. Being a art history of propaganda enjoyer. They were drawn exactly like that. But, you know, we've moved, it's a better time. Hats off, sure. What am I doing? We'll go Heywoah. We'll go for a Heywoah hat. Sometimes you feel like ogres don't get updates for similar reasons, unfortunately. What, the Mongolian thing? I feel like ogres are, like, their thing was being Mongolian, right? With the mustaches and kind of being all mounted, you know, drive around looting from people, right? Good evening to Texas with Soren. Anyway, let's look at this guy's actual war scroll. Enough of this. Enough of this wishy-washy. 4 up save, 5-inch move, 1 wound, 6 brave. Flame hurler 8-inch, see below, 2s and 3s, no rend 1. Okay, like pretty accurate. No rend is sad, but what's their attacks characteristic? Attacks characteristic of flame hurler is equal to the number of models in the target unit to a maximum attacks characteristic of 8. Oh, hell yeah. It's actually fun. That's cool. And they all have this thing? Oh no, as I'm reading, it's only the unit champion. Okay, well that's actually probably reasonable then. They do look a bit anti-Semitic sometimes as well. Yeah, for sure. Same sort of features a lot of times. Technically Silk Road, Golden, Canaan. Yeah. Source Thomas Pirinen, head writer for Warhammer Fantasy Battle 6th. Well, shit. If the tapes have been checked, then the tapes have been checked.
And we take a look at the tail of the tape.
Some of them may be involved with exotic stuff, like dark matter.
An ABC News brief brought to you by Michelob Light Beer. Now from Washington, Sander Van Oker.
All right, thanks, Sandra Van Ogre. Appreciate it. Anyway, this is a Warhammer, or this is a Warcry Warband 100%. For sure. Runa Alpha, 1 in every 10 models in this unit must be an alpha. 1 in every 10 models in this unit must be an alpha male. Add 1 attacks, characteristic models, melee weapons in addition. Can issue commands to their unit, right? That's what a unit champion is. 1 in every 10 models in this unit must be a Ruinator. Add 1 of the attacks characteristic of the model's melee weapons. Alright. Demolisher with Flame Hurla. 1 in every 10 can be a Demolisher. Cool. That's a fun weapon. And Stampede of Iron. After this unit makes a charge move, you can pick 1 enemy within 1. Roll a die for each model in this unit. Not that unit. For each 6, enemy suffers a mortal wound. Cool, okay. Is the resident, any resident Underworlds players in the chat, is 10 models too much for Underworlds? In my head it is. This is like, to me this is Warcry 100%, but I don't play side games, so I'm not sure. Did somebody say hashoot? Yeah, we said hashish. Also, non-chorf detected, or rather non-dwarf. So, Chaos Dwarf players in shambles right now. But, I mean, I don't know what it costs. This ability is kind of fun. We'll see what kind of keywords this gets that are important, but overall, I mean, conversion fodder doesn't seem very good. I hate to say. Chorf's confirmed, let's go 100%. The rules scream Warcry. To me, yeah, too. Give me a train. Yeah, the Chorf's confirmed, let's go 100% thing. I hate to be a stick in the mud about this. And I'm actually hoping... I'm hoping for some counter examples. This isn't a bedrock foundational opinion. This is something that I thought about for 1 second. And so maybe somebody who's thought about it for 2 seconds and has played the game longer than me can, or pays attention to the side games, can set me straight. Some Norwegian dude thanks for the gift sub. Tier 3, holy shit. Huge gifter, dude. To TH Dub. Very interesting. Hey, please enjoy funny emotes and dodging ad bullets in the future. Massive sub. Some Norwegian dude. More like sub Norwegian dude. Oh no, wait, that's actually a bad thing. I didn't mean it like that. Don't clip this. Anyway, Hopium brand new / returning weird races that get a Warcry warband don't seem to ever make it to the real game. Like those deer people, Sylvaneth, you know, various different types of goofy, silly friends and stuff like that that are like new or returning from the time of old. It feels like at some point Games Workshop has a decision to make, and they're like, shall we have this thing be real? Or shall we just make like one squad of it for Warcry and then that's it? And in the 5 years they've been doing that, I don't think they've ever like made a warband out of Tomb Kings or something, or Fox Dryads or Satyr or anything like that, and then like, okay, and now here's the big Sylvaneth, you know, 5 different unit boxes and brought it. They've never brought them into the fold, really. And so if you're getting your hopium up that like Chaos Dwarves are confirmed, I would say it could quite possibly be exactly the opposite. But I haven't thought about it too long, and I don't follow side games anyway, and so it's not a very strong opinion. Hope detected. Yeah, we'll see. Lord Whale, thanks for the tier 1 gifter. Marvelous Mr. D. Preach. Forge Masters are the Chaos Dwarves? Oh, I see. Okay. Also, temper your expectations as the Forge Masters temper their iron. Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps that's the way to think about it. The Sylvaneth deer people are sweet. I don't entirely disagree. The deer people are alright. I don't like the satyrs. But that's probably because I don't like satyrs. I think satyrs look dumb. And I probably aren't pronouncing their names right. Your hopium is too strong? Well, then I shan't fight against it. I mean, live long and prosper, right? However, always remember, it's only game. No half be mad. The Slanesh range and some of Lumineth were preceded by Underworlds bans. True Lumineth bans? Okay, well, hey, maybe my opinion that I caveated as weak a few times turns out to be, and we've reignited the furnace of hopium, perhaps. We'll see. Chorfs are heavily hinted at in the Cruel Boys Hobgrot lore. I mean, they write random-ass, throwaway, single sentences about all sorts of ancient lore. I'm not swayed by that stuff. They do that all the time, so they can eventually pull or just not if they need to. I'm not swayed too much by that. I guess it's not a bad sign that they're talking about them in the lore. It means that they're not like full just, you know, like a clean snip, it's gone. So there's that. You're mad because it's a game. Okay, fair enough. I don't play Chorfs. I don't particularly care about Chorfs. But I want to see what modern Games Workshop sculptors can do in plastic with something like an artillery train. Like Doom Train from Final Fantasy looking ass model. I want to see that. I don't play the army, I don't care about it, but that would be sick, and so I'm secretly pulling for the Chorf fans out there. Because I want to see them do that. Turn it up to 11. Give us that Age of Sigmar, it's a little too goofy, you know, kind of creativity. That's exactly it. A little too far is just enough for me on models for the most part. They had to skip Chorfs so they could do silent people. Oh yeah, silent people. Man, rumors out of the silent people camp has been pretty quiet recently. Anyway, hold your applause until the end. Next one, please. Eternis, Blade of the First Prince. Oh, this is the dude. This is the... man, this head looking a lot like a Tourmaline head from Stormcast. Can we check the tapes on that? Just for comparison? I can't, because the website... The Games Workshop website is special, okay? If you leave it up and don't do anything with it for approximately 1 minute, you basically have to reload it. Anyway, alright, any Tourmaline heads in the chat? Let's see. Any Magisters of Hammerhall? There we go. Alright. A little more draconic, has some armor on it. It's just ram horns. Alright. I rescind my statement. It's just ram horns on a huge horse. Or something. A little bit. A little bit. Maybe there's some evil Taurelians? Yeah. The kind they put in Monster Energy drink? Or is that taurine? I can't remember. Anyway, this dude looks sick. Big armor, evil guy on a big horse. This is what I want if I'm playing Slaves to Darkness, let's be honest. 9 wounds, the perfect amount of wounds, because at 10 he would be much worse. As we often mention, 10 is the worst number of wounds to have in the whole game. It is actually worse than 9 in most situations. Because it exactly does not fit in battalions, which is a big problem. Can't gain cover, no lookout, sir, etc. But he's armed with a death glove and a skull flail. And then, okay, so you just get all the weapons. 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, 2-2. Good. 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1-1. Alright. Proper number of attacks. Probably handles artifacts well if you have any combat ones. And then 3, 4, and 3, 1, 1. Sad, but whatever. It's mouth attacks. He is... Oh, I was just about to look, yeah. Because he's named, he no longer takes artifacts well. Yeah, my throwaway comment got me. Also, he happens to be a Legion of the First Prince specifically, and undivided. Oh, okay, yeah, so he's... This guy's kind of bingoed up, isn't he? Stonks decreasing. The first strike effect applies to this unit if it has made a charge move in the same turn. Good. That's a good ability. Network of Spies. At the start of the hero phase of this unit is within 1 of any friendly Chaos Legionnaires. Or furries. You gain 1 additional command point. Oh, okay. Are Chaos Legionnaires or furries good? If not, this is maybe attacks or something you don't do. If they are good, then, hey, free command point. Fun. I don't play some of the weirder slave stuff, so I'm not sure off the top of my head if Legionnaires or furries are good. Are they? You heard your name called. No, it's an Underworld warband. Legionnaires, I think, are new. I don't recognize it, but furries are around. Old mate thinks he can hold more weapons than a tyrant. Get out of here. Yeah. Vein of Black Lightning. Holy shit. The vascularity of this man. Alright. At the end of your movement phase, if this unit has been slain, roll 2d6 and add 1 to the roll. If B. Laker is in your army on the battlefield, 8 up, set it up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 from all enemy units, with all wounds allocated to it removed. So, on an average roll, if Bellicor is alive, this dude just comes back, huh? Those veins of black lightning, reducing his refractory period, I see. Alright, this guy's fun. I don't know how good this guy is exactly, and I don't know what he costs. And it's not like he necessarily has any, what would you say, you know, synergy or huge stopping power or massive speed or anything like that, but sometimes he comes back to life. You get to keep rolling, it seems, not just on the... At the end of your movement phase, if this unit has been slain. Yeah. To me, this reads if he is dead. It doesn't seem like a trigger. I think the trigger is at the end of your movement phase, not... Because otherwise it would say and. Right? I think you just keep rolling on all of your movement phases and then he comes back. You can take multiple? No, he is a unique named character. So I don't believe you can take multiple. No, Chaos Stormcast actually. This guy sits directly in the fun zone for me. I'm not sure if he's good. And I suspect that he probably isn't stellar. But he lands in the fun zone for me. Now, unfortunately, if you're playing Legion of the First Prince with Be'lakor, you don't... you can't even see fun from your house, but this guy's a fun inclusion. Simply kill your own unit for a free teleport. Yeah, easy. Easy peasy. Just run him in. It's like the old Black Knights from back in the day when people used to play Nagash and, you know, 60 Grimghast Reapers, and they'd toss a unit or two of Black Knights in there and just charge them into anything just to waste time and die and bring them back. Could be fun. Grumbling Dad, you've come to the right place. Welcome. Evening. Chatting about AOS here. The fun zone is where you live and where you die. You were forged there. Yeah, born in it. Molded by it. Live in the fun zone long enough and you become the shelf zone. That is the flip side of the coin, SG Arcade, and it's something we can't forget. A lot of people use fun zone as like a... one of those, you know, the meme where the guy's like, he's got this mask on and the mask is doing the troll face, but then underneath he's crying. A lot of times that's what people loudly proclaiming they do everything for fun are feeling. Like just losing all the time, complaining about everything their opponent does, and then they're like, well, I don't try to win at all costs. I try to have fun. While I don't have fun, complain about everyone else's stuff, and lose all the time. So like, hey, consider not being one of those people. Just, be honest, right? Some people lose all the time and have plenty of fun. These people are chads. Yeah, go to see Pagliacci. Very funny clown. Thoughts on Legion of the First Prince in the tome? Well, it answers one of my questions, because I had a burning question with Soren. That, because I'm working on, and I recently got 1 day to work on it yesterday, which was very nice, for the every army in blah 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 minutes, you know? I'm like, do I do a Legion of the First Prince section or not? Because I'm thinking about, I do one of these a year, roughly. What's the longevity of it? Slaves to Darkness is coming out in winter. Is Legion of the First Prince even going to be in it? Or was it like a temporary, here's a funny side book, it locks in the narrative, and then when STD comes out, it's different, or it's not even a thing, or who knows, you know? I wasn't sure. But if I'm seeing stuff like this, then what I suspected was the case is that it would be rolled into whatever new tome they were coming out with is, and I can make it its own little section in the Every Army thing, like right after Slaves to Darkness. And it wouldn't make much sense to put it anywhere else, but, I mean, sometimes they just want you to buy another book. Or magazine. physically in the year 2022. With Legion in the Battle Tome, how much will they lean on mortals instead of demons? I don't know. A lot of Chaos books, very early on, were like a laser beam that's trying to split 007 in half when he's tied up on top of like a torture device or something, right? They're like, you must choose. It is mortals or demons. Everything demons doesn't affect mortals. Same over here. They don't work together. It's bingo, you know, whatever. Like that's how it really was, and that has been softened up a little bit over time, which I think is good. But I don't know. I feel like even having the mortal keyword means that there's probably going to be a lot of it. Maybe Legion of the First Prince is the demon way you play slaves now. And Arcane and stuff is the way you play mortals now. I'm not sure. I don't know. They could go a lot of different ways on it. Legion of the First Prince needs to be in a tome. It's just the most sensible place to put it. Still think it will be mostly demon focused. I suppose if it's not mostly demon focused, then maybe there's just 2 ways to play. That'd be fine. Plenty of armies do that with the same models, right? Hey, you can play with Legion of the First Prince. That's one of your sub-faction choices. It might just be a sub-faction. Instead of an army in its entirety, it might just be one of the sub-faction choices. Like your sub-faction choices are, this is the sub-faction I choose if I bought all of the Warcry random stuff, you know? And then this is the sub-faction I choose if I want that classic, you know, Slaves to Darkness feel. And then this is the sub-faction I choose if I'm playing with Arcane and or Vanguard and stuff. And then this is the sub-faction I choose if I want Bellicor. So like maybe there's 4 of them. Nobody out-hasses the shoot. Yeah, maybe. This guy encourages Legionnaires, which you are thinking is the new name for Chaos Warriors? Oh. I don't know. Do you think they would do that, chat? Any old-timers in chat who remember 1992? Buying that first Hero Quest box that had Chaos Warrior with the big shoulder pads, and at that moment in time, it was actually kind of a revolutionary thing to do. You know? Chaos Warriors are, I would say, just as historical and important to the GW brand as Space Marines. Perhaps more so, in a technicality sense. I wonder if they would change such a name of Chaos Warrior to something else just out of the blue in Age of Sigmar. I wonder. Yeah, and Chaos Warriors did just get new plastic, and they look fantastic, in my opinion. Yeah, just, I guess. And Age of Sigmar just. Dad Gamer just. Like in the past 2 years. What were the Chosen called in that leaked PIC? Let's see. Searching for leaked pick, which I no longer have. I don't have it readily available. I don't think. I can't immediately bring it up. Perhaps there's a tape checking that can go on. Was that... Did it have, like, Chaos Chosen, or did everyone just assume that those were chosen? Like, it could be that those are Legionnaires. They are still chosen? Okay. Alright. They look awesome, by the way. Big fan. We needed those big, like, I don't know if anybody... If you're middle old, you will remember the Warhammer Fantasy MMO. And, like, the concept art for Chaos War, or Chaos Chosen in there was so badass. Like, I wanted that. And when I saw the derpy Super Nintendo chibi looking ass like chosen in the game proper, I'm like, oh no, okay. I'm waiting for one of those kind of updates. Warhammer Online was so good. I played it. I had fun. You remember that exact concept art? Yeah, and even the Slanesh one looked so sick too. Like I think there was like one for each type. It was awesome. It was so sick. And they used like a tower shield in one hand and a flamberge or something one-handed in the other. Chads. Ahem. Yeah, Lord of the Whales. You went to the Las Vegas convention where the Warhammer MMO was announced. Ari Salvatore was there. Oh, nice. Ari Salvatore's a nice guy. I met him at Gen Con a million years ago. Metal-covered meat. Anyway, I don't exactly know how good this guy is, but he is fun. And to be fun, you actually do have to be a certain level of good. Otherwise, it's no longer fun. It's just fun in concept, and then when you play with it, it's not. And I think this guy is good enough to be considered fun. But maybe not great. We don't know his points. We don't know any of the rules or anything in the new book. Everything could change. There could be like one battle trait in that book where it's like, if you're a Legion of the First Prince army, your mortals do +1 damage on the charge. Oh shit. Like, alright, Eternis is now he's a brick shithouse. Like, who knows, right? But all we can do is comment on what we do know now. Tay Barracuda, thanks for the tier 1 gifter. I appreciate it. To RK Sanders. Thanks a lot. Next, Ogoroid theradons. Not spiders. Yeah, we looked it up. We checked the tapes. Theridion with an extra I in there. Theridions are a type of spider. Theradon, maybe it's referencing that, maybe it's not, but they're just like big ogre dudes, so probably not. Maybe it just sounded cool to them. 5s and 5s, 6, 6. Alright. Ogre stat line. Or what I suspect to be the ogre stat line, Hopium. For Gutbusters. Like +1 wound, still have a shit save. Kind of fast for a slow battle line on foot, you know? Without hungry bonus. Anyway, 2-inch range, you love to see it on models that are probably on 40 mils. Not a hero. 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1, 2. 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, 2, 3. Oh, the Annihilator stat line. Hello. Thank you, ma'am. But that's a Goro-An Great Axe, which I assume only one person can have. Each model in an Ogoroid Theradons unit is armed with one of the following weapon options. Falchion and Shield. Oh, no. Ahem. Let me backpedal here. You can just equip the whole unit like Annihilators with big hammers. The double pounders. Hell yeah. Are these your Annihilators with shit saves? For Slaves to Darkness? Very interesting. Doesn't have the mortal keyword, but does get Mark of Chaos. Oops, all axes, baby. Beast of Chaos in shambles, by the way. This War Scroll is what Beast of Chaos wanted for Bulgars from the past 6 years. With a model like this. But okay, hey, you know what? It exists somewhere, right? 5 wounds big. Yeah, double captures. Automatically double capturing. Standard Bear adds 1 to Bravery. I Sleep. Musician adds 1 to charge rolls. That's good. And the name for the musician is a charge caller. Well, they call the charge. Okay, makes perfect sense to me. It's a unit of 3, which I assumed because they're kind of like Annihilators in that respect, right? Each model with this unit that has a shield has a save characteristic of 4 instead of 5. Cool. But I'm taking the big hammers all day, every day. Your enemy can't swing back at you if they're dead. 5 head. Berserk Rage. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons of this unit. If any wounds or mortal wounds were allocated to it earlier in the same phase. That's actually hard. That's a tricky one. Not quite Annihilators in that case. They're not just like chilling on 3s and 2s all the time. In what ways could this kind of sometimes activate in the combat phase, though? Besides your opponent just piling in first. If your opponent piles in first, you can safely assume you're dead. Unless their unit sucks or they roll bad. Which can happen, but you want to... You don't have to rely on getting super lucky to have your abilities work, right? In general. So, let's see. They charge you and do like impact hits or something, and then like they choose somebody else because they're in multiple combats, maybe. There are a few units in the game that if you charge them, you take like some damage, but that's not a lot. In the same phase, huh? Alright, I got it. There's a brand new Slaves to Darkness unit. It looks like the Whipcracker guy from Diablo 2, and he's like a hero, and he can, at the beginning of combat, he can whip some unit and deal 1 mortal wound to them. And it has no other effect. And you're like, what's this? Well, it's for turning on your Dinosaur Magic the Gathering ability. Whenever the thing takes damage, something happens. There you go. Whipcracker. Now your Ogoroids are true Annihilators on 3s and 2s, and then you use a command ability, and they're on 2s and 2s. Neg 2/3, which is actually a big boy damage, even in squads of 3. Yeah, it has to be the same phase. So even charge phase stuff is out. I'm gonna CSI enhance this a little bit, just so people can read it a little easier. Maybe move it over here. Once per battle when this unit is picked to fight, you can say they will unleash their savagery. If you do add 1 of the attack's characteristic of the unit's melee weapons until the end of the phase, however, the unit cannot receive Inspiring Presence. I'll take it. I'll take the trade all day, every day. Rain or shine. So, 13 attacks. 2s and usually 3s. Neg 2/3. Big. Damn. Alright. Alright. How to say you play ogres without saying you play ogres. Look at this war scroll and spend more time talking about its actual rules than the other two. Once per battle, this unit can fucking dumpster whatever it's fighting. And then your Inspiring Presence that you won't be rolling at the end of the turn because your opponent was dead. Oh shit, that sucks. Cool. These guys will cordially welcome you to Pound Town. In a bad way. The SCG bust, I was thinking about that. About like Hopium, but maybe the tome has some self-damage mechanic that they can synergy with. Yeah. I'm thinking of Druid from... I'm thinking of this Druid. This page isn't working. Back to the top. Please. Alright, there we go. Cool boys. The double-decker. Master Blaster, this guy. He's got something like that built into his War Scroll. So maybe something like that. Except off War Scroll. Next up, we got some pictures. Look at this dude. In the era of the beast. Oh, hold on. You probably can't see it. I'll move it over here. In the era of the beast, the Ogoroids return to the misty wilds of the realms with murder in their hearts. But not for Beasts of Chaos, who already have Bulgors, which is exactly this, only really stupid looking and much worse stats-wise. But all right. They look cool. Are they on 50s? I suspect they are. I suspect these dudes are on 50s. At first I said 40s, and now I'm seeing this. I'm thinking 50s. These guys are probably on the same base as, like, Icefall Yetis. I don't think they're quite on 60s, like, for, like, Akkalian Kings and stuff. But Akkalian Kings are actually smaller than you might think when you see them. Yeah, my boy. And look at this dude in the background. Good face on him. I'm very pleased by these things. Also, apologies, Beast of Chaos players. Dude with a bunch of banners and stuff. Nice axe over here. This may or may not be Eternis. Or it could be like default version of Eternis. Maybe there's non-named hero version of Eternis. That'd be good. That you always play instead of him. And if there's a default version of him, perhaps he's not keyword locked. Hopium. Breathe it in. And then back here, what do we have here? What do we have here? A centaur with a... seems to be a net and probably a trident for the gladiatorial thing. Is this a centaur? Are we gaming? Look at the guy in back, left, and front fight. Yeah. I'm going to move this over here a little bit. We have 3 huge dudes that look awesome. There's Bellicor in the background there. We got a centaur. Actually, is this model big? Is this thing large? He's pretty far in the background, and he's roughly the same size as this guy in the foreground. That Centurion is 3 different rumor engines. Beast of Chaos, so Kragnos, right? Yeah. It's almost uncanny how... Man, it's almost uncanny how Beast of Chaos keep getting absolutely trolled. Full ruse. Bamboozled even. Kragnos comes out, they're like, this is it. The Beast of Chaos, we get a demigod. Nope, it's destruction. Oh, fucking Bulgors, finally, at last. Nope, slaves to darkness. So Centaurs, nope, slaves to darkness. BTFO, VOC players, I'm sorry for your loss.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Every night.
Every night. I can feel him. Eternis leads Bellicor's faithful in fighting off a Seraphon strike intended to tip the balance of fate. Oh, okay. Well, if they brought some skinks, a little Star Priest there, a Troglodon against this, I don't know. These guys are looking cool in the background, too. I think this is a rune shield, perhaps. It's kind of a potato pick, but... yeah, they're ready to cast through this Troglodon, that's for sure. Channeled summoning. One of the Destro tomes is going to be the Beasts of Chaos. That would be weird, because they're called Beasts of Chaos. Alright, I got it. Beasts of Chaos, their new battle tome, is going to be called Beasts of Destruction. And it's just the same thing, except they're in the Destruction GA now. And then they get Kragnos, just like they always thought they were going to get. These models come out, and they're called Beasts of Destruction Bulgors. And you're just supposed to throw away your old ones, and you can use these guys. Beasts of Kragnos. There you go. Kragnos and Dem Boys. That's the battle tome name. And they get a brand new better rules for their terrain piece. It's called Fuck What You Heard Stone. It's going to be great. I heard Beast of Chaos suck. Fuck what you heard. Yeah, Legionnaires, probably. Centurion Marshal, probably. Multiple arms, maybe? Question mark? More than one arm? Beastaliachi, huh? Alright. Looks like some kit patches you've seen for the Dragon Ogres. I don't think it's a Dragon Ogre. There's no scaly stuff. But then again, it's kind of a rough picture, right? Those new Stormcast centaurs will look amazing. Oh, is this a Stormcast one? Yeah. Anyway, these were the Slaves to Darkness leaks we hadn't gotten to last time. Before going over the Nighthaunt book. Saturday. Craig knows he's in Chaos now. Oh no. Well, as long as it coincides with the Gitz tomes, there's something else they can do. He's got hoofs, not little feetsies, yeah. The, what is it? Fulminator, like dragon pugs. Next. You heard they'll put Marauder Horsemen in Beast of Chaos for new cavalry. Should work well for them. Yeah, I keep hearing the Beast of Chaos are getting fully rolled into Slaves to Darkness rumors. And I've been hearing those rumors for 5 years, to really no avail. Maybe it's from someone seeing a really early picture like this and just assuming that. I don't know. Doesn't seem to be happening. Then again, look at these Bulgors, yeah. You missed the hot takes on the new Ghost Boys. What's the verdict? It's great you asked that question. Because we have a moment from our sponsor. Because we're Zoran redeemed ad time. But I can't click it because apparently an ad like just happened recently. So get owned. You wasted your points. But good attempt. And I appreciate it. However, next Fire Slayers is Dwarf Soup, right? Yeah. Boy, am I glad that rumor was wrong. Dwarf Soup is just a terrible idea. It would be so shitty to do that. I'm so pleased it was wrong. Hats off, sure. I'll go Bipus, I guess. I could Bipe a little bit. You like buying less books? Same. And I like an army designed inside of its walls, inside of its house, with positives and negatives and ways to overcome and ways to enhance, right? Instead of, man, it really feels like this army wants some shooting. So instead of designing the army so that you have ways to play around the fact that you need shooting, well, here's this and here's this, so actually you kind of don't, or whatever. It's just like, nope, bring in the allies and just say it's part of the same army, throw them in the same soup pot, and now you just use all sorts of stuff that isn't your army. And so your Fire Slayers army is now like a third Fire Slayers, and you're just only playing like Hearthguard or something, and everything is boring. Anyway, I don't like it. I like Dwarf Soup when it's in the Maw Pot. When I choose to use that terrain feature, which is very rare, actually, because it doesn't do much for Beastclaw. Anyway, I have some Nighthaunt to go over. Oh, I think we had a... Is there an updated Nighthaunt? I think there is. Yeah, there's an updated Nighthaunt doc. Because I first looked at it. We first looked at the Ultra Leaks Saturday. Just a little bit after they were transpiring. And I made some notes. Some Nighthaunt notes. As we were reading through, just made some notes real quick. Let's revisit them and revisit this now that, you know, had a little time, cleared the air, clear heads prevail, etc., right? And I might build a list or two. I was tooling up a list a little earlier, and I might recreate it on stream. And so it's pertinent that somebody asked about Nighthaunt, because, hey, guess what? This is the roundup. Yeah, Ultra Leak. So from the... I'm going to make a point in between all of these. Let's see. Vanishing is the last one. Okay, so this is the battle traits section. And then we have the traits and artifacts. Then we have the spells. Then we have the sub-faction. And then finally we have War Scrolls. What did you miss? Good meme. I thought Aura of Dad was fun, good even. Retreat and Charge Army-wide is strong. Ethereal sucks. And I was sad about this, but then immediately afterwards I learned about Discorporate, and now Ethereal's good. Wave of Terror is fun. Frightful Touch nerfed big, but now it's army-wide. And then Vanishing. Alright, so let's revisit. Enhance. Yeah, we're making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Grieving Legion, Emerald Host, Scarlet Doom, Quicksilver Dad. They got Aura of Dread, which I thought is a cool rule. And thinking about it for even longer, I continue to think that this is a cool rule. It's also written pretty nicely, too. The rules writing has improved at Games Workshop. Enemy units are terrified while they're within 3. Okay. While unit is terrified, this is what happens when you're terrified. We got a little keyword, and then we have a little description of what it is, and it's pretty simple to figure out what it is if you're in combat. How nice. You can't receive Inspiring Presence, so Battle Shock may matter against Night Haunt. Now, there are... I don't want to say a lot. Am I saying a lot? OBR, ignore this. Stuff that says Battle Shock does not need to be taken, ignores this. Like 5 different Skaven abilities, ignore this. A whole bunch of hero command traits that produce an aura where you don't need to take Battle Shock, ignores this. But a lot of people don't choose those things because you can just issue Inspiring Presence. And because damage is so high that anything attacked is usually just dead. And I am exaggerating with that sentence, but that's kind of how people feel, I think. But still, even so, I don't think it's quite ubiquitous. So Aura of Dread is cool in that you cannot issue or receive Inspiring Presence command. And it means Battle Shock will sometimes matter. And against Night Haunt, it will often matter, in that you will actually have to roll it, which is rare. Well, it's not rare to roll it, it's rare to roll it when you care. Usually if you don't care, you just roll it, and maybe a guy runs away, who cares, right? I would have... So... I wrote a rule similar to this for my custom Ogres Gutbuster tome, and it was around a Tyrant. Enemy units within 6 inches of the Tyrant may not issue or receive commands in the Battle Shock phase. This one specifically calls out Inspiring Presence, which is a little worse, but it's not that much worse. Most of the stuff that's ignoring this is going to be like auras or things that, you know, work elsewhere. Same with my version. Overall, I think it's neat. Ethereal became a ward, stayed just as bad as it was before in a giga armor stacking metagame, where Mystic Shield is overpowered and Night Haunt can't use it. And Best Day Ever is overpowered and Night Haunt can't use it. And All Out Defense is overpowered and Night Haunt can't use it. And so on. Usually it's just those 3, some armies have more. And so Ethereal was never looking worse than it was before this battle tome came out for Night Haunt. And they gave them a 6-up ward, and I'm like, I sleep, I don't care. In fact, I think I typed it here. Yeah, Z. I sleep, 6-up wards, you fail them all the time, I don't even almost consider it a thing. But Discorporate is essentially your all-out defense. They gave you a command ability, and it gives you a ward of 5 instead of 6. And this is real shit. It's the Shaq meme. A 6-up ward, current Ethereal, is like I sleep, and then Discorporate exists. Real shit, like he wakes up. So, 6-up ward Z. However, you got Discorporate. So Pog. Actually. Like, unironically Pog. That's cool. And then furthermore, under this Ethereal thing, there's something that has nothing to do with defense at all, but they gave it to you anyway, and they put it here. And it's, in addition, friendly Nighthaunt units can retreat and still charge in the same turn. That is really, that's very good. That ability is very strong. And I say it is that strong, not just because retreat and charge is in a vacuum a very strong ability to have, but also because everything in Nighthaunt flies. And if you fly and can retreat and charge, it changes things. That's really good. Army-wide flying, retreat and charge is great. So, Aura of Dread is neat. I just think it's neat. Ethereal is, when taking into consideration Discorporate, great. With a movement thing that is great. Then we have Wave of Terror, which used to be, if you won the lottery, you got to, essentially, it was like a destruction ability. In the first Nighthaunt book, I was reading Nighthaunt's allegiance abilities, and I'm like, what is this, a destruction army? Your whole deal is rolling natural charges of 10 up, and then you get some stupendous bonus, but most of the time you'll fail and you suck. I'm like, this is not a death tome, this is a destruction tome. What you used to be able to do if you rolled a 10 or a 9 in a particular battalion, but then you had to use bad units, and so it's probably not worth it, was you fight at the, if I recall correctly, you used to be able to fight at the end of the charge phase. And then you entered combat and you could fight right away again. So it was, like, the ability was amazing. It was just you had to roll a nat 10, so it never fucking happened. Wave of Terror got changed to be, am I saying very good? Shall I go that far? Is Wave of Terror very good? I think I will. Yeah, this ability is very good. Because it stacks. It stacks, and if you roll really high, you can pick which one you want. For these two reasons, this ability is very good. On your average charge roll, your enemy suffers -1 to hit rolls. On a good charge roll, you get +1 rend, which is amazing. This is the one you want. This is the great one. And then on a 10 up, you get petrify, which is worse than stun in most situations, I think. Unless you're like triple charging the same unit, and then, okay, you give yourself, you give the opponent strike last so you can attack with everybody, right? And I think you probably build this, it seems to me you try to build this army in such a way so you can be doing as many multi-charges as possible. It's like you're building this army kind of like a Beast Claw army. Where like, look, I'm trying to roll as many charges as I can against the same unit. And I'm kind of rewarded for doing so. Yeah, ABC. Definitely an MSU army. In fact, looking through the whole book, I didn't see almost any reason to not do MSU. Unless you care about drops or something like that. I mean, I suppose you have some regen, you got your Guardian of Souls and stuff like that, but your regeneration isn't particularly crazy. Your durability isn't actually particularly crazy. At least as I see it. Maybe my tune will change on the battlefield. And you do have a bunch of defense spells and stuff to use. But I don't know that many of the things you're doing are heavily benefiting you having big units. Only, I think, Grimghast Reapers are like the only playable stuff with 2-inch reach. So, I mean, I was rewriting the Nighthaunt section of every army last night. with this book in mind, and I'm like, this is an MSU horde army. It's a horde army, but everything is MSU, I think. That might be a safe prediction to make. As someone who's played a decent amount of games as Night Hunt, the access to improved wards is very appreciated. Our characters and more elite units were always extremely vulnerable. Yes. Yeah, Realm of Thorns. One of the things was all of your heroes had, like, almost no wounds. Really small wound count. You had, like, I mean, Lady Olinda had, like, what, 7 wounds? She still does. And she's something like 300 points now. It used to be 2 something. But 7 wounds on your centerpiece thing is a distressingly low amount of wounds, even if you have a ward. So these abilities are all, these battle traits are excellent. This shit is hot. I'm excited. Aura of Dread is neat. Ethereal is really good with Discorporate. Retreat and Charge with flying is great. Stacking, well, okay, trying to win the lottery with extra rend and everything like that, but stacking a bunch of stuff by multi-charging is sick. Frightful Touch is, I'm going to be honest, a bit sad. This one was the one where I was a little sad about it. Because it feels like Nurgle. It feels like they felt that just giving them 6s to hit proc Immortal would be too good. And so they found some crap to give them instead that wasn't very good at all. Which is what this is. But it's army-wide. So you have to keep that in mind. Like, the Frightful Touch ability itself, this is like a humongous nerf. Like, it's kind of awful compared to the old version. But everybody gets it. And you're acquiring your damage from other stuff. To kind of get it back in that respect. And in the game proper, I suppose it is reasonable to have varying degrees of 6s to hit proc something that isn't just like 6s to hit proc Immortal Wound or an extra hit or nothing. Like putting a little in-betweeners in there, like the Nurgle thing, I think, which is on wounds, or Frightful Touch, which is on hits, but they still get an armor save. And then Vanishing Phantasms, which is just a fun trick. Cool option. Neat option, thanks. And that being said, so like battle trait section overall, feels fun and well written. Ethereal with Disco is great. Taken in its entirety, the retreat and charge, all that, it's great. New charge Lotto, much preferred to old version. Stacks, promotes multi-charges, MSU. Bonus rend is the thing that makes this good. If it didn't have bonus rend as a reasonably acquirable part of this table, it would suck. This whole thing would suck. Deeply. Frightful Touch is weak, but army-wide, so maybe balanced. And Vanishing is a fun trick. Thanks for the option, in other words. It's not even a lotto anymore? Yeah, it's not. That's like why it's good, basically. Because you can find that bonus rend in there, and even if you don't find the bonus rend, you're going to find something. Strikes Last is good. Opponents being -1 to hit you is good if you don't kill them, which you probably won't. Because the War Scrolls in this army have really bad damage. But that's sort of the that's kind of the point. That's why all this stuff is good here. Like if everything in the army had the stat line of like Stonehorns and stuff, well then these abilities would be like way too good, right? So overall battle traits, I like them. Not bad. Enhance. You're always sus of 6s to hit or wound whatever. Always a bit suspicious of it. Yeah. And then we got the command traits section, which, let's see. What were my notes on that one? Looked in Shadow is good space and fun, but not particularly great. Ruler, Spectral Host, please stop doing this. Midnight Tome, Shadow's Edge, Light Shard, Wood Shard. Okay. Lingering Spirit is the one you take, because it gives you a 4-up ward against mortal wounds. You might remember this one from the Realm Artifacts, called Ignax's Scales. It was commonly chosen, although not as commonly chosen as Ethereal Amulet, which in turn was not as commonly chosen among good armies as the Brooch. But, this shit's hot. Everything else sucks. But there are some special mentions amongst the stuff that sucks. So, Ruler of the Spectral Hosts sucks because it is a once per game effect that has a 50% chance to do nothing Willy Wonka style. You lose, you get nothing. Good day, sir. Thanks for wasting an artifact on a 50-50 coin flip that does nothing if you fail it. Stop printing this shit. It's bad form. However, on a 4-up, you get to return a replacement unit that was destroyed, which is a strong effect, right? Well, conceivably, it seems like a very MSU unit, so actually it's not, an MSU army. If you're running 30 Grimghast Reapers or 15 Hex Raids or something like that, then yeah, you probably want this. And maybe you take it and just bite the bullet and pray that you're going to flip a coin properly and that you didn't waste your time and the strat of your whole army on a coin flip. I don't know about it. I just don't know. I feel like in the future, if you feel the ability is so overpowered that it needs to have the downside of once per battle, and also the downside of on a 4-up it works and on a 1-3 it does actual nothing, then you as the person writing the rule should reduce the effectiveness of the ability until you feel okay with letting it just work if it's once per game. Like if it's too strong to work all the time as a once per game like overpowered effect, then whatever game it happens in is probably too strong. Like it's going to maybe ruin that game by being too strong. And so in sometimes it's not worth thinking about the aggregate. It's in fact worth thinking about the exact game you happen to be playing. And so this ability, if you think this ability is so strong that it should only work in half of the games, then in the games where it works, it might be downright overpowered, right? And you're sort of oppressively win. And then the games where it doesn't work, you completely wasted an artifact for no reason. Maybe you could say, once per battle in your movement phase, roll a die. On a 1 or 2, or 3, I'll keep it a 50-50. On a 1, 2, or 3, you can return a slain unit that was not reinforced to the battlefield. Right? And then on a 4 through 6, you can return a unit that was reinforced to the battlefield. And then like halve each of them. Like maybe that. So you're still getting something. You're getting less if you didn't roll that well, and you're getting more if you rolled better. But there's no, like, nothing happens, right? Oh, hey, Dr. Dark Match. Thanks for the 2 gifters. I appreciate it. TY for the gift subs. Is there a way to eloquently write that it only works on MSU? Yeah. Unit that has not been reinforced is what I would probably use. Something close to that. I don't know that that's eloquent exactly, but it is, like, rules correct, I would say. Yeah. Ellie of Quint. And then this sucks. This sucks. And Cloaked in Shadow, I thought was a cool design space for them to explore. General can only be targeted as the target of a shooting or combat attack by 1 unit. So you can't do more than 1. This general can only be shot by 1 unit, can only be attacked in melee by 1 unit, and they just can't be picked if it's more than that. And I don't think it's very good, because your opponent's unit of long strikes are plenty to kill any of your, like, they're just gonna, that's what they use to kill you, right? Or 1 unit of bow snakes, or 1 unit of Iron Drake Blaze Masters, or crossbowmen, you know, whatever it is that they're, 1 unit of 30 sentinels. The really good shooting in this game tends to be big units that are absorbing a bunch of buffs. And so they only need 1 to kill your stuff, which makes this kind of bad. However, I think it's interesting design space to explore. It's just kind of bad. That's all. And then, for this stuff here, I'm taking Arcane Tome all day, every day, rain or shine. I think Pendant of the Fell Wind, maybe. If you're concerned about your hero in a Night Hunt army with 120 models on the table or whatever, somehow getting into melee combat before you've lost the game anyway, then hey, subtract -1 from ruined rolls. But you have spells and stuff to do that. So I think Arcane Tome feels like one of those armies where just Arcane Tome is the best thing to be doing. But maybe I forgot about one of these over here. It also works in melee, which makes it much better. Yeah, I mean, if your general happens to get into melee combat with multiple stuff, and, you know, one of those things wouldn't kill them and 2 does, yeah, but it, I don't know. Even then, I think it's a stretch, right? I feel like even in melee combat, you tend to get killed by 1 thing. I'm not saying Cloaked in Shadow is terrible. I'm just saying I don't think it's choosable. Like, I would choose something else instead, I think, especially in this army. But it also kind of, I guess, you know what, it probably depends on what your local meta is like and what people play around you. And maybe I'm being unfair by always thinking about your opponent's best hammer attacking one of your generals, right? Like, okay, here's your general. He's got Cloaked in Shadow. He gets charged by your opponent's Fulminators. They do 60 damage. Cool. All right, well, he's dead. Or your opponent's Frostlord, or your opponent's, you know, whatever monster hero thing, or their Sentinels, or it protects your general from being, like, I suppose, double charged by 2 non-hammered, like, random units that were going to work together, I guess. But your general is going to be actually really small. It might even be hard to fit 2 different units even around the thing. Your stuff gets in the melee here to trigger more charge effects. Oh yeah, maybe you do want, maybe this is a tactic thing. It's not about what's going to kill your general. You're not actually really protecting him. Eternal Witness. Maybe your point is that you take Cloaked in Shadow as a Night Haunt player, not because it saves your general from dying to stuff, because it kind of just doesn't. But it lets you play riskier with your general and charge in for extra, like, charge-up bonuses. I mean, I'm still taking a 4-up ward against Bortles over it. So there is that. A risky business, yeah. But, yeah, okay, maybe your strategy can kind of, can change. And Cloak the Shadow is just like, it's not quite being used in the way I thought it was going to be used. Maybe you could use it in a different way. A lot of the time, that is the case in this game. For instance, like you look at Chain Rasps, or you look at Noblars or something, and you're like, this is the worst unit in the game, Noblars. They hit on like 5s and 5s with no rend and 1 damage with 1 attack a model, and they have a 6-up save, and I think a 5 bravery or something. This is objectively almost the worst War Scroll combat-wise in the whole game. Well, who would ever want it? Well, yes, it's terrible, right? But sometimes your strategy that you use to play it simply doesn't care about its downsides. Like, you play that in a Gutbuster army, you are not bringing them because they participate in combat, mechanically. In fact, when you're playing the game, you're not even going to roll their attacks to save time, because it was going to involve you rolling a bunch of dice and nothing happens. And you don't even take them to not die, because you take them to die. That's the whole point. They're chaff. Your opponent has to spend one of their precious combat phases, of which they have a limited amount per game, wasting their time killing Noblars instead of something cool, and you countercharge them. And so here's this objectively awful unit, like Noblars, but you can give them a job that they can excel at. And so perhaps I'm just not thinking about Cloaked in Shadow properly. And there's a job you can give your dude, where this thing is hot shit for. In theory crafting mode, I don't know, but this is why we play the game, and I'd be interested in hearing about it. Giant rats are worse? Oh yeah, giant rats probably are worse. No save, 6 wound, units of 6 guys. Ahem. Artifacts of power, were any of these good? Light Shard. Is that a thing? So, Shadow's Edge. This thing is an embarrassment because your battle trait for everyone in your whole army procs on 6s to hit, right? And it skips your wound roll. And it doesn't just skip your wound roll. Like it can. You must. There's no can here. It's not a choice. If you roll a 6 to hit, you simply ignore your wound roll. And you can't choose not to. And so here's a weapon that procs on a wound roll, which you 1 in 6 times won't even be rolling. But for the 2 in 6 times when you are rolling it, maybe 3, and then 1 in 6 of those times, if it happens to be 6, you deal D3 mortal wounds. Alright, this is what is called a non-bow. It is the opposite of a combo. And then this thing cares about bravery, so I mostly ignore it. And it's also for, like, fighting. And then we have Schlitter. When you pick the bear to fight for the first time in a turn, you can slay 1 unit, which is... or 1 model, pardon me. I actually kind of like this. Call me crazy. But you are often going to be charging in with your heroes to trigger abilities, because a lot of your heroes just got 4-up wards and stuff. And being able to pinpoint swallow whole on the model that happens to be the unit champion, so they can't issue commands anymore, stonks are up. I actually kind of like Slitter. It might be a meme. It might be really positional, and it only might work if your opponent screws up, but they're going to want their champions up front for the extra attacks, usually, right? So your opponent is incentivized to play champions up front, and then this thing might incentivize them to play them in back. But yeah, gobbling a unit champion in 3rd edition is a big deal. That is a problem. So that's cool. I actually like Slitter if it's if you're putting it on a hero that might actually enter combat sometimes. Light Shard is the shit, obviously, once per battle. Big AoE, +1 attacks characteristic of all melee weapons. That's awesome. It's just what the doctor ordered. Light Shards for breakfast? Hell yeah, dude. Reese's Harvest Moon. Push button, receive damage. I'm taking it. And then there's crap. And I mean crap, like none of this other stuff is even worth talking about. There's Light Shard, which is great. It's just what you want. And then there's which is some of that little like tricky tactical, you know, stuff that if you're that type of player, you'll like that. And then there's Arcane Tome, which I'm feeling like taking perhaps in this army. But, you know, you have some good options. So traits section. Lingering Spirits is great. It's Ignax's Scales from Realm Arts. Ruler is bad. And a badly written and imagined rule. Otherwise, crap. Unless I'm wrong about Cloaked. What Amulet of Destiny should have been? Yeah, that was my fix for it, Germ Minis. If Amulet of Destiny was too good as a 5-up ward, I thought the fix would be, hey, it's a 5-up ward against mortal wounds. So like, simple and clean. Like in GW's Office, Japan edition, you got Utada Hikaru typing away on her keyboard. And she's just like, there it is. 5-up, mortal wounds only. Dusts off her little hands. Works on the next Kingdom Hearts game. But no, it's a 6-up and so trash. Into the trash it goes. It's recap from the weekend. We did go over more leaks at the start of the show, Fizz 6, but also good meme. And then for artifacts. Light Shard is the obvious choice because it is push button, receive damage. You know, like what heroes used to do. Slitter is air quotes fun for tactical people. Else just Arcane Tome. Loads of crap, like always. That being said, Midnight Tome, I think, deserves special mention. Midnight Tome is particularly bad, but only because endless spells at this stage of Age of Sigmar are a near total failure of a game mechanic. Big click. Sorry for the ASMR clicking. I hope that's not annoying anyone. I admit, I have a bit of a snappy keyboard. I like that satisfying snap. You rage at Horns of Hashut? Yeah, we had some Chaos Dwarf players in here earlier that got to dispense with their salt. Alright, moving on to spell lores. I recall Seal of Shyish being good, Shade Mist being good, Spectral Tether being good, Soul Cage actually maybe being good. Like, this is a good spell lore. Spirit Drain is ass, and Lifestealer feels like it's only good for Nagash, but having arguably 4 choices out of 6 is great. I mean, you're riding high. Improving your stuff to a 5-up ward, so you can. This is essentially your Mystic Shield replacement. Hell yeah. And a cast on a 5. It's literally Mystic Shield for Night Haunt. Praise the sun, right? Awesome. Shade Mist pretty good for the -1 to wound rolls, which, you know, now if you're fighting against Night Haunt and they charged you and you get Shade Misted, you're probably on -1 to hit and -1 to wound. That sucks. If you've ever had that happen to you, if you've ever been a melee central army and you're chilling on -1 to hit and -1 to wound, it is not a great feeling. It is not a great feeling at all, especially if your dudes happen to, let's just pull a number out of the air, start with 4 to hit. And Soul Cage is pretty good for your, like, MSU plan of, I'm going to multi-charge everything. Well, then the Strike's last effect is pretty cool. You can get that charging, but it needs a 10 up, so here's a spell to let you do it. And then Spectral Tether is good for, like, repositioning your specific buff / specific debuff people that you may or may not happen to be playing. Like, I could see playing a Banshee with a Arcane Tome and Spectral Tether so she can reposition to, like, always be in the good spot to screech at something, or I could see it being put on a, what's his name? Krollgast Cruciator, I think. The dude who has -1 to multi-damage profiles, which is terrifying for me as an Ogre player. You can give him Arcane Tome and Spectral Tether so that he can reposition and essentially follow around your opponent's, like, multi-damage dudes so the thing has a higher chance of working even though he's a silver bullet. So yeah, your spell lores are good. I actually like spell lore. Good. You're good, bros. You have Ghostly Mystic Shield, which is 1/3 of the 3 out of 3 things. Well, 3 out of 4, I guess, because I don't think you got a heroic action. But maybe I just haven't seen that page. You needed to not get left in the dust by third ed changes. So that's huge. Teleport on a 4. -1 to get wounded. Fight last thing. 4 to 6 ain't bad. You're batting above average for Age of Sigmar armies, for sure. Ahem. Does Nighthaunt get any pluses to cast? I think only Reikenor, unless I'm forgetting something. Reikenor does, I don't know if anybody else does. As we're reviewing this and going back through it, I'll check. But good question. Ad time? Sure. Oh, I won't play the ad time yet, though, because a person who isn't subbed just asked a good question. And I want them to, like, see the response. So play the game against your buddies Night Haunt this weekend to try the new rules. If you like the 4-up ward, artifact is kind of meh considering spirit hosts are there. Yeah. So the reason I like the 4-up artifact is because it gives you an option. Like, you can play with a bunch of spirit hosts to protect your stuff, or you can take this excellent artifact and not need to have a spirit host next to that particular hero. Like, it's kind of like shifting cups and balls around. And so you're like, okay, this is the hero that has the spirit host around it, so that hero is good. This is the hero that won't, so I'm giving it the 4-up. This is the hero that's going to be behind a giant clog of guys and probably not going to be targeted. It lets you have options to move around, I think. But yeah, putting a 4-up ward artifact on a person who's just going to be 3-up passing off wounds to spirit hosts, you know, it's not favorably stacking. I mean, I guess once the spirit hosts die, you still maintain a cool versus mortal wounds ward, but I don't know if it's worth putting both of those on there. But I guess I need to see how long spirit hosts last around you. Like, if they just all die right away, or if they half die and then you can regenerate a few of them. You know, the old, like, regenerate your spirit hosts trick that people used to do in Night Haunt previous versions, stuff like that. Anyway, get owned by an ad. Except for people who have Prime or subbed. In which case, welcome. Moving forward, we have your processions. Enhance. How does Olinder not have a bonus to cast? I don't know, man. How did Alariel not have a bonus to cast for most of her lifetime in Age of Sigmar? An actual god. They are stingy as fuck with their bonuses to cast, that's for sure. How does a Tzeentch Demon Prince not have a bonus to cast? Yeah, free shrugs all around. You guys are going to be typing a lot of examples about how does X and Y not have a bonus to cast. I'm going to shrug and say I don't know for all of them. Probably. That being said, consider Master of Magic. It's an amazing trait. Nice viewer count. Oh, 69 viewers. Nice. Good one. God tier should at least. For sure. I think Mortarch tier should as well. I feel like Mortarch is like, it's definitely a step down from Demigod, but it is,
Which prime?
you know, it's closing in. I feel like Mortarch tier, which is what she is, should be getting some cast bonuses. Curly Joe, 69, nice. Hey, thanks for the big primer, I appreciate it. Be'lakor should have one, maybe? Yeah, I could see that. He's closing in on Demigod status, depending on if you've played Warhammer Total War 3 or not. And whether he gives Ursula the bear, the big bear suck at the end and takes the god juice out of it. Or not. 71 viewers ruined. Alright, 2 of you guys gotta leave. Alright, sorry. I do need more viewers, but we're at 71. 2 people have to go. Apologies. Yeah, suffering from success. There it is. Anyway, your sub-factions, enemies cannot retreat within 3 of any friendly Grieving Legion units with 10 or more models. I think the 10 or more models kills the crab here. You're a very MSU army. It's no guarantee you're going to be at 10. And then furthermore, cannot retreat within 3 is the type of ability that you play 6 games of Age of Sigmar. And in 5 of those games, this never matters. And then in 1 of those games, your opponent says, alright, it's turn 5, I'm just going to retreat with these guys onto this objective, and I win the game, and then they put their hand right over the table. And you're like, push your glasses up, they shine in the moonlight. You cannot retreat, sir. It says so right here. And they're like, what? And then they actually lose the game instead of actually win the game. And it's huge. So can't retreat usually doesn't matter unless it does matter, which is rare, but it does. And when it does matter, your opponent like instantly loses the game because of it almost. Like it's huge. So I don't know. The 10 or more models thing is a little rough for me because it feels like a very MSU army. Yeah, page 69 of my battle tome. Letter 420 from the top. Got him. Anyway, does this unlock anything? Are we unlocking battle line with the something dead? What's it called? Grieving Legion? I don't think so. I don't think we're unlocking any battle line either. Battle line in a Scarlet Doom. Battle line of Kurdos. Battle line of Quicksilver Dad army. Yeah, no. No battle line or Reno, unlock a Reno. Okay. You forgot to say that no retreat anecdote, and then your opponent immediately calls your army OP. Yeah, Yep. Stream frozen? Doesn't seem like it in my preview window here. But good meme otherwise. Yeah, Grieving Legion. Sub-factions. I before E, how about? Grieving Legions. No BL unlocko. No, I actually intended to spell it wrong. Thank you. Thank you, Word. But I did want to spell that wrong.
Twitch Prime.
Noptic. Hey, thanks for the big primer. I appreciate it. 12 months, almost exactly a year. Thanks a lot. You didn't forget this time. Yeah, you were not. You got your prime in. You were not sniped. Happy 1 year anniversary. Thanks for the subs. And thanks for liking my stuff. I appreciate it. In what world is your MSU 10-man unit still full strength? That is the rub, as they say, Mageson. Could win you the game. But very rarely. Also, big also. In your MSU army, how is that unit still at 10? Guardian of Souls, I guess, but then combat phase. It's a skip from me, dog. Does Grieving Legion want you to not play MSU? Include different artifacts and stuff? I mean, maybe. Maybe Grieving Legion is the thing where they're like, when they were writing the book, they intend you to choose either MSU or not MSU. And so they sprinkled some of the non-MSU stuff in there. They're like, you take Grieving Legion, you have huge units of chain rasps, and you dust off your 30-man units of Grimghast Reapers that haven't seen the battlefield since 2018, when Nagash led them. And maybe there's an artifact or trait that I thought sucked, but doesn't suck if you have 1 million guys in your units. But I feel like you're still kind of playing 3rd edition. And as such, you're probably not doing it. But maybe it's the iconoclast kind of I'm gonna march to the beat of a different drum kind of choice. No, you're right, that Ginger. Spirit of Torment is pretty decent recursion, especially now that they changed it. So that you're not bean counting and wasting time figuring out how much damage you've done with stuff and getting the different breakpoints. It's just like, have your stuff back. It's fine. Then we have the Emerald Host, which to me is the automatic choice and the one I want to immediately build an army around. Easily. Because it is fun. Alright, Emerald Host. The fun one. Pick D3 +1. units to slowly die. But this will be a theme. After armies have been set up but before the first battle round begins, you can pick up to D3+1 different enemy units on the battlefield. If anybody remembers the FAQ from Idna Deepkin, emitting the word different is apparently something they can do on purpose. Anyway, at the end of each battle round, roll a die for each unit picked that is on the battlefield. On a 2-up, the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the unit is a monster, a little bit more. This is sweet. I love it. This is fun. It's very ghostly, right? It feels like we're getting that flavor from Night Hunt. Just cool. And it rewards you for knowing what's good in your opponent's army, things like that. It's pretty easy to resolve. It's a 2-up. It's not like some horseshit roll under the result of the current battle round abilities, which are almost all bad. Or at least a little bit bad, because they only end up really mattering by the time the game is usually over on average. I am being a little dramatic here. It's not that bad, but sometimes that's how it feels. Anyway, Emerald Host is awesome, and it's fun. Scriptors and Emerald Host for mono black deck, melt your opponents. Yeah, that's pretty much the list that I'm trying to build. I'm going to play an Emerald Host. I'm using 3 Scriptor Mortis at minimum, and we'll see what kind of fun we can have. You mean like the Everwinter? Yes, I mean like the Everwinter. But there are other abilities that do stuff like that as well. Scriptor Mortis does, for instance. But I'm going to see how it works out. Does Emerald Host unlock Battle Line? I don't think it does. It shouldn't, because it's good enough as it is. Yeah, it doesn't. All right. And you can play Bladegeist Revenants in Scarlet Dude. And you can play Dreadscythe Theradons in Quicksilver Dad. All right. Would you think you have forgotten at least 5 out of every 7 rounds? Yeah, and you forget about it because it so rarely matters. Because on turn 1, you need to roll a 1, and you need to already be in combat. On turn 2, you need to roll like 1 or 2, and you need to already be in combat. Like, Everwinter is a double whammy. The first whammy is that you need to roll equal to or under. I think it's equal to or under. It might just be under. I think it's equal to or under the current battle round, which is very rare. And then on turn 3 or 4, usually the game is about ending. And then the second whammy, the double whammy, is it has to roll around to your hero phase, and your guys have to still be in combat somehow. Somehow your opponent had to, like, fail to kill you, or you had to fail to kill your opponent, which is also kind of rare. And so it's like double rarity. And largely forgettable, unfortunately. Anyway, Scarlet Doom. Unlocks coolest looking battle line in Blade Geist. I don't know how to spell Geist. Revenants. Scarlet Dome. Alright, I'm in. I'm into it. Scarlet Dome. Tarkin Rex, funny story about that. It should happen every hero phase or just like get removed. Yeah, so funny story about that. Well, maybe not funny story, but in first edition, we had something called the Everwinter in the Beastclaw Raider Battle Tome, which was its own thing. And you didn't get to pick, you had to like randomly choose what happened at the beginning of your hero phase. And if you rolled a 5 or a 6, you then had to roll again for each unit around you. And then only then did it take 3-up mortal wounds. And I remember playing against an opponent, and I was pretty new to the game still. And Beastclaw were like terrible. They were like actually the worst army in the game that had any special rules, next to Flesh Eater Courts at the time. And I was resolving that ability and telling my opponent what it did. And they said to me, without being disrespectful, if it automatically did D3 mortal wounds to my guys on your hero phase in combat with you every turn, like no rolling, 100% chance of working, that ability would still suck. And that comment stuck with me because he was right. I don't know. I'll never forget that. That was a good one. It was something, I figured it out. It was like a 2% chance of working. And if it was a 100% chance, it would suck. Anyway, Scarlet Dome. After Scarlet Dome, Revenants makes a charge move. You can pick one enemy within 1. If you do, roll a number of dice equal to the number of models from the charging unit. For each 5 up, target suffers a mortal wound. This is awesome. This is what people are going to play. I'm trying to play Emerald Host because I think it's going to be cute and or fun. I think Scarlet Dome is going to be very popular. It gives them damage. That's why it is good. Roll 10 dice. For each 5 up, target suffers a mortal wound. You can retreat and charge every turn. You're going to be making a lot of charge rolls. Charging turns on most of your synergies anyway. Blade Geist Revenants look the coolest out of all of your battle line. They used to be, I'm going to say arguably the best hammer in the army. Before them, Grimghast Reapers were inarguably the best hammer in the army. They are expensive, which makes me a little concerned. Right, we got 175 for 10. Everybody else is like 160 or less. Hex Rays are 160, Reapers are 160, and naturally Battle Line. Dreadscythe Theradons are 160, Battle Line and Quicksilver Dad. Revenants are the most expensive ones. They do get a bonus +1 to attack on the charge, which means they're probably a little bit more damaging normally than the other types. But Grimghasts have a 2-inch reach, so all 10 are always going to attack. And all 10 of your Bladegeist Revenants might not always get to attack. Kind of depends on the situation. Because you have flying, you can probably always attack with most of them, depending on what you're fighting. Grimghasts are just like guaranteed. And their like special bonus ability is way harder to turn on. You have to be fighting a unit of I think 5 or more, which is like pretty common. But it's not like if you have charged, which is just sort of automatic, right? Anyway, Revenants, more expensive than I would like, but in a Scarlet Doom army, or even in a non-Scarlet Doom army, I'm considering just playing Bladegeists as the hammers and playing a Scarlet Doom army. It's the way to... They're maybe the most damaging hammer that it could be battle line for your points, and you get bonus mortal wounds. The shit's hot. It gives them damage. Probably going to be the popular one. If it isn't some spiky Emerald Host. Which I think spiky Emerald Host might be a meme. But who knows? Maybe somebody will spike tournaments with it and it'll become like the auto thing. I'm not sure. But I think it's a bit of a meme. And Scarlet Doom is just what people are going to play. I suspect. Which is not like a bad thing. This is fun. You're doing mortal wounds on the charge? Believe me, I play Beastclaw Raiders. The shit's fun. And now we have the Quicksilver Dad. Ward rolls cannot be made for wounds caused by attacks made with melee weapons by friendly Quicksilver Dad, Dreadscythe Theradons. It's a trap. It is a trap for people who think there are too many wards in the game. That's maybe a hot take or something. Maybe I'm wrong, but it whiffs of trap for people that are like outcome bias, negativity bias, feeling like they're losing because your opponent has too many wards. maybe you choose this if, like, you're in a local meta and you only ever play against 2 people, and those 2 people are Nurgle and Hagnar, or something like that. Or, you know, Phoenix Guard plus, Phoenix Guard plus, who's that dwarf? Get Wrecked guy? Or, you know, Hearthguard Berserkers plus that guy. Like, you play against 3 people and all of them have, like, 5 up wards on their entire army. Okay. Like, maybe you play Quicksilver Dad just to not lose to them. Yeah, got wrecked, that's it. I keep thinking he's get wrecked, but it's got wrecked. But I largely feel like it's generally a trap. And I would just take something that is great, like this, and then be better against everyone, you know? Instead of specifically targeting that. Because holy shit, does Quicksilver Dead fucking suck when your opponent doesn't have any wards. Or only has wards on like 1 guy or something like that. That feels real bad. And I don't think this army is strong enough to be able to waste its sub-faction choice on something that's not going to matter all the time. Anyway, so Quicksilver Dad, IMO, a trap for wards living rent-free in Timmy's head. Silver Bullet, tiny meta. Already talk about how the Quicksilver and Scarlet art are swapped. Oh, what do you mean? Is their art swapped? What do you mean? So this is Quicksilver, and it appears to be made out of Quicksilver. And then this is the Scarlet Doom, and it appears to be red, which is like a scarlet color. What am I missing? Eternal Witness. Oh, you mean the creature type? I see, the creature type. The Harridan is on a Scarlet instead of Quicksilver, despite... I see, okay, yeah. The creature... This is a Dread Scythe Harridan. It is not a Blade Geist Revenant. And then this is a Banshee, which is not a Dread Scythe Harridan. I see. It wasn't a swap. It was simply a picture of the wrong units. But they commissioned their art probably way before they finished their rules. She kind of bad, though. She's got a corset. Those things are uncomfortable, even if you don't have a body. I've heard a lot of complaining about it in my travels. Yeah, it's cool enough art. Nice underlighting. Underlighting always looks nice and creepy. Alright, Grand stratagems. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if 1 or more enemy units are on the battlefield are terrified. This is bad. Dismantle the Brave. This one's okay if your general is if you're confident that no one is ever going to kill your general, which, by the way, is a battle tactic that is commonly chosen by everyone in the world. So, a lot of people are building their armies specifically to be able to kill your general when they select it as their battle tactic. As such, I feel Dismantle is too risky. And then finally, Assault Acclaim. After deployment, but before the first battle round begins, the enemy unit with the highest wounds characteristic is marked as the target if more than one unit When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if the target was destroyed by attacks made by a friendly summonable unit. Turns out everything that does damage in your army besides heroes is summonable. So this is like reasonable. This is a reasonable choice. And you probably want to kill the highest wounds thing in your opponent's army, usually, at some point in the game. So, for once, one of the custom grand strategies might actually be choosable, which is cool. Furthermore, if you are planning on playing an Emerald host with 3 Scripter Mortises, conceivably that thing that you're choosing here will be double death cursed and taking mortal wounds every turn, making this even more likely. However, that's also kind of bad because a summonable unit has to be the thing that kills it, so, you know, there's some push and pull there. And then fight or flight, when the battle ends, you complete the grand strategy if there are no enemy units within 6 of any Niton units that are contesting an objective. And this is any, so basically no way. We have 1 maybe, which is, on average, a little better than normal. Usually there's, I think, for the grand strategies that I've looked through, if I'm not mistaken, usually they're all fucking garbage, and then one of them is maybe okay. And you probably just take the one that means all your battle line is still alive, or at least one of it is. Kill your Jennies, yeah. Have a unit of Chain Rasp purely for Feed on Terror. It might work. The problem with Feed on Terror that I have with it is, well, first of all, this designer's note. If you kill everything, you lose. But also, you have to be in combat at the exact moment the game ends, right? And so a clever opponent could potentially just retreat from you and win. Unless you're playing the Grieving Legion, and then they can't. Got them, right? But you're probably not playing that Legion. In fact, you're definitely not. So, a clever opponent can retreat from you and screw you out of 3 points and win. Also, if you accidentally kill that unit, you don't get your 3 points. So if you succeed too hard, because you have to attack, you might end up killing that unit, and then you screw yourself out of points by, like, doing too well, right? Which kind of sucks as well. And so, in general, I think no on this one. Yeah, Grieving Legion, non-MSU, huge units of Chain Rasps, Feed on Terror. We got a ball game. At every step of the way, I feel like they aren't the greatest choice, but hey, maybe they're greater than the sum of their parts. Because generic ones allow you to auto-win if you have not already lost. Yeah, pretty much. And then battle tactics, you might choose some of these if they happen to matter. I'm kind of bored by it. Nagash, I really wanted a kind of fresh war scroll, but no dice on that one, just to copy-paste. I'm not going to go through all the war scrolls, because I did that yesterday. And this is just like a summation kind of thing. What was the one that I thought was kind of okay? A Soul to Claim. A Soul to Claim. Kind of alright. Not bad. I don't have the battalion page. And I don't have, I think, one other page. If it ends up mattering. I can't remember what that other page is. There might be a unit or two that aren't in here, but they are posted in Giga on our Discord, if anyone cares. But everybody got this book now, so. No big NBD, as they say. So it's time to build a list. Time for building a list. Oh yeah, standout units that I thought were cool, by the way. Hex Wraiths seem pretty fun. This Phantasmal Advance feels like one of those build around me abilities for an army. Like you could do, you could do like, there's a world where you take 15 hex raids for like 500 points. A unit, like an actual unit of 15. And you load it up with a 5-up ward. You load it up with Shade Mist, so it's at -1 to get wounded. And then you move it 24 inches, so you're 3 inches away from your opponent's army in like a line. And this is known as an alpha block strategy. And so your opponent is just stuck in their deployment zone. And they might kill the hex raids. In fact, they probably should. If they can't kill the hex raids with their whole army just sitting there, I don't know what kind of army they were playing, but it wasn't a very damaging one. Now, they do have a 4-up save. They have a 5-up ward. They're at -1 to get wounded. 2 wounds apiece. All that stuff is pretty durable, but it's going to be your entire opponent's army. They should be able to kill this thing. But even so, even if, worst case scenario, they kill all of them, they have now moved their entire army up exactly 3 inches. They've captured nothing. They're essentially just stuck in turn 1 again. And you've been doing stuff. So, maybe that was worth it. Maybe that tempo play was worth it. And it's possible in an army like this, maybe you really are choosing that one artifact of power. Or no, maybe you really are choosing Ruler of the Spectral Hosts to roll that fateful coin flip here and get back 7 hex raids. And so the sacrifice was, half paid for half of the time. Could be neat. I don't think I'm going to try to do that, but it's like a possible strat. It might be neat. Downside. Unlike Lumineth, you can't just chill back, body block your opponent, and shoot them to death fully. By pinpoint targeting everything that would be able to deal with that situation. And then chill on objectives in a lawn chair, spreading suntan lotion on each other's backs, right? You actually just run them up and then they die. And now you're playing a 1,500 point army, but you essentially wasted your opponent's entire turn. So, positives and negatives. Another big downside, if your opponent happens to have flying or teleports, this is not a great strat any longer.
Twitch Prime.
Like, if you do this against Idoneth Deepkin, they are going to shrug and 14-inch move fly over you plus alpha somewhere. Or, like, ambush with 2 of their guys and then fly over with everything else. And just sort of be like, okay. So, there's that too. But, you don't, like, have to do the plan A if plan A isn't going to work, right? 50% of the time, it works every time. Although this would be like 50% of 50% of the time, it works every time. Neon Cowboy, thanks for the big primer. Oh, hats off, sure. I'll wear the big hat. Neon Cowboy, thanks for the 7 months. TY for liking my stuff, I appreciate it. Doesn't even stop Lumineth Sentinels shooting Sag, yeah. I mean, also, if your opponent is one of those big boy, like, long-range shoot-'em armies, they mostly won't care about that either. They'll just start doing what they're doing. Even Ogre, Gutbuster, Underguts will just lean back and shoot you with all their Iron Blasters 8 times. And hope to get lucky on all their D6 rolls. KO's entire army will just disappear and land wherever they want it to. Heh. Nice try, kid. The free market has something to say about that one. Heh, got him. So it really depends on what army you're playing against. But I think it's, it could be a neat idea. Spirit hosts are obviously... What shall I say here? Obviously, in theory, very good. The stuff like this, sometimes I like to wait and see how it looks in actual play. But just theory crafting, it seems like 125 point natural battle line that 3-up bodyguard any of your heroes. At 12 wounds on a 4-up Ethereal. With 8-inch move flying. That, I mean, they have a bunch of shitty attacks, so they're not like exactly here for damage, but like it just seems like the price is right for these guys. You want bodyguard on your dudes. They're 125, they're already battle line. Good move. You know, it's this, they just seem good. They just seem good, man. How good, I don't know, but these seem extremely playable. So, units of note. I'm going to start with Spirit Hosts. Spirit Hosts, 125 for Natty Baddie. Are we doing this? Natural battle line? Alright. 125 for Natty Baddie. 3-up bodyguard to anyone. The price and job just feels right. Gold star. In Theory Crafter mode, Spirit Hosts seem good. Yeah, I had to give it, I guess, the dumbest name I could. Natural Battle Line. Natty Baddie. Hex Wraiths. Turbo move. Could give Alpha Pin strat with 5-up ward and -1 to wound. For how much is it? Is it like 500 points? How much are these things? 160 each. So what is that? 480, right? Maybe. Has some downsides, I admit. Oh wait, do Hex Wraiths actually do damage though? That's probably a question that's worth answering here. 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1/1. 2 attacks, 4s and 4s, 0/1. Oh, they got a 2-up. They got a 2-up impact hit. That's something. Please make Big Natty Baddie a shirt. Yeah, and it'll be a picture of like all of the cool units that happen to be just normally battle line. You know, Spirit Hosts, Liberators, you know, Gutbuster, or Ogre Gluttons, right? Just go on the big collage. Natty Baddie army. Their damage seems to suck. But that isn't really their job, so maybe you don't want them to do that. Or you're not too torn up if their job isn't like, or if that isn't their real job. Glaive Wraith Stalkers stood out as being bad, just like always. You see the 2 damage characteristic over here, and 2 damage in an army where every fucking thing is 1, please. And then you look at the attacks and it's 1. And the unit is like 4. On 4s and 3s. Nope. No thanks. Crossbow dudes, I'm bad at evaluating how good ranged units are before I play against them. So these don't seem to be any good. But I don't know, maybe they are. I think they become battle line if Kurdos is their +1 attack anywhere in the book. There is one, as far as I know, there is a 1 +1 attack in the book, and it is a once per game artifact. Wholly within 12 of person who has the artifact for that combat. You? Yeah, kinda. One arguably redeeming thing about Stalkers, and it's not much, is that you can ringy-dingy them for the +4 to charge to get more reliable 9-inch charge for a Wave of Terror. Right, but if I recall correctly, Wave of Terror was the no fun allowed type. It was the natural charge roll, not the result. Yeah, you look up the unmodified charge roll. It doesn't count the bonus for it. Fun detected, in other words. But that would have been cool. Nine-inch charges are still tough. Yeah, you're likely to fail 9-inch charges, but you know, it doesn't buff the charge. But yeah, you're more likely to dig in and stuff. You're more likely to succeed at the charge in the first place, which is also, let's not forget, that's good. You know, maybe it's not necessarily fun detected. It's more like you can't have all the candy. It's please choose one, right? Craven Throne Guard. BL if Kurdos. Maybe good. I don't know. I'm bad at determining if ranged units will be OP or not. But these don't seem great. Fun mediated. There it is, yeah. Dreadscythe Theradons don't seem very good. I think I just ignore them. It's like you choose Dreadscythe Theradons or Bladegeist Revenants or Grimghast Reavers, and you're probably going with Revenants unless you're in Doom, and then you're going Bladegeist, I think. And like Harrowing Shriek is cool, but it's also on the charge roll thing as well. Or maybe that's -1 to hit. I was thinking of your spell, which does the same thing, and your general's trait that does the same thing. Yeah, this is to hit rolls. Yeah, all right. As I suspected. I think Bladegeist Revenants are good but expensive. Bladegeist feel like the book's bread and butter unit. Emboldened by the Dome Zone subfaction. Though pricey. Is it emboldened? Oh, I actually just forgot the N. Yeah. I just forgot the EN. Lurker reporting in. Thanks, Plank Walker. Keep walking those planks. TY for liking my stuff. GGR. This is stupid. Natty Batty. Alright, Natty Batty. 2-inch reach is huge. And cheaper than Revenants. But maybe a good decision point before someone really does the math, plays a few times, and everyone only chooses whatever the best is considered. So like one of these two, I'm not sure. Obviously if you're going Dome Zone, you're choosing Bladegeist. Otherwise, maybe GGR. Or maybe Emerald Host isn't even trying to do stuff like that, and they're just playing a bunch of Chain Rasp or something like that. Mirmorn Banshees have the coveted 2 damage, start at 2 rend, and 2 attacks a model. Although I think they come in units of 4. 4s and 3s, which is alright. 1-inch reach, fine. They have an ability that I haven't been able to read correctly, and I can't remember what it does. But even if it doesn't... Oh yeah, it's the Spell Eater. They can unbind. They have the Unbinding. They're 105, if I recall correctly, for 4 of them. So... you have 8 attacks. Let's pretend you're using a command point, right? So 8 attacks, 3s and 3s, -2, sometimes -3, damage 2. 8 attacks. Eight attacks, 4 hit, 3 wound because of ability. Pretend Ren 2. Are these women doing maybe 5 damage? Something like 5 damage, maybe? On the charge, that's like pretty good for 105, I guess. It's good armor ignore. Wait, they're not banshees. Mirmorn. Mirmorn banshees maybe worth playing in MSUs for like utility plus damage to ish for 105. I don't know. I would need to see them on the table. Probably not, but maybe. I could see it. Mirmorn Banshee ability unbinds against the casting value of the spell, right? Rather than the roll. Oh, do we have a picture of a good version? Because I can't read it on this one. You said there's a picture in Giga? Oh, on the app? Yeah, my phone isn't near me. So can anybody check the tapes on that? I'll click the button, check the tapes. Is it the casting value? Please enjoy a tape checking.
And we take a look at the tail of the tape.
Some of them may be involved with exotic stuff, like dark matter.
An ABC News Brief brought to you by Michelob Light Beer. Now from Washington, Sander Van Oker.
Alright, now from Washington, Sander Van Oger. Anybody have the app? Because I don't. My phone's not close to me. I would just look on their website because they used to put all their War Scrolls on the website, and in fact, they're still there. Just unupdated and with a link taken out. But you think it's different on the app now? There were changes. Oh, it might not be updated on the app because the book isn't like out yet, right? Yeah, Sander Van Oger. I don't think that would change my opinion of them. I lied. That would be really good. If they could just 2d6 straight roll a casting value to unbind, regardless if you got a 13 or not. I'm gonna be honest, that's good. Getting them close enough might be tricky. They're very like it's 4 wounds, right? It's 4 wounds on a 4-up. If you deal 2 damage to them, like 1 dies on average. But still, I don't know, maybe you play like, maybe you play 1,000 points worth of Mirmorn Banshees in little units of 4, and they're just squiggling all over the place. I don't know what people could do. And yeah, according to Giga here, they have to be within 12. Oh, okay. Here, I'm gonna just open this. I'm gonna just open the original for the tapes. This might be an old version because this is not correct here, and it wouldn't be on their war scroll. So this might be an old version because they wouldn't put Ethereal on it because it wouldn't be. So I'm not willing to say that this tape checking is correct. This is an old version, I think, but the enemy wizard successfully casts a spell that is unbound. The enemy wizard picks a unit wholly within 12 of them. So, like, it's not the caster, it's whatever thing they're targeting. But it's cool that it's against the casting value of the thing. Like, that's sick. That's cool. You're, like, unbinding techless and stuff, and he's, like, auto-casting on a 10 or 12. Yeah, that's the old version. I'm not sure if that's this one. But still, they're like maybe, I don't know. Might play a TTS game or something. They're so fragile that I'm not sure. But you could play a shitload of them, like 700 points worth of Mirror-worn Banshees. And they're just wiggling all over the place, multi-charging everything. I don't know if the damage is quite there, but they have decent utility. 2 damage weapons. Chain rasps. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by this unit if this unit made a charge move in the same turn. So you get a bonus to your wound rolls that you will be not rolling on 6s to hit. So a little bit of a nombo there. I guess they just wanted to give them the worst possible damage buff they could think of. Which is usually a bonus to wound roll, which is worse than a bonus to hit roll. And then sometimes you ignore it because you get a 6 to hit and your battle trait ability renders this. But it's still going to give you a bonus. Overall, it's still going to give you an increase in damage. It's just less than it could be. And you're not taking chain rasps to deal damage, that's for sure. Hungry Panda deciphered the new scroll. Oh, nice. Let's check. You can roll 2d6 each time an enemy wizard successfully casts a spell that is not unbound and chooses for the effect of the spell to apply to a unit wholly within 12 of this unit and win then. Blah, blah. Add 1 to the roll if the unit has 3 or more models, which it may or may not, because it starts with 4 and they have 1 wound. Greater than the casting value? Ooh, it is the cool one. Okay, confirmed. Maybe. If the Hungry Panda is to be believed, then confirmed they have the cool Unbindo ability. That could be neat. That could be interesting. If what you want to do is play a clog of dudes, how cheap are chain ghasts? I can't remember. Chain rasp. 110 for 10 of them. So for 50 more points, you get like damage versions or, extremely mobile anvil versions with the same amount of wounds. Which is a considerably more, that's a larger amount of points for sure. And for 65 more points, which you're no longer even really comparing, you could take Blade Geist, but that's like almost double their points at that point. $110 for 10 wounds on 5-up saves. They have a 6-up. If you want to give them a 5-up, you can. They do no damage. 8-inch move pretty good, though. Alright, so we have Chaff. Chain rasps are Chaff. So, like, use them if you want that. Spirit Torment has cool stuff. Yeah, this is your bonus to hit roll. Comes packaged in. Tomb Banshee is actually cool. I like Tomb Banshee. Karen Wraith, not so much. Yeah, I think the change really is the removal of the second paragraph. Tomb Banshee is noteworthy. Great Shriek ability. Prime Arcane Tome. Teleporty target. What does Tomb Banshee do? She does partial eclipse. I should write that down. Partial eclipse. Where total eclipse is that Luminath Texas spell, the Texas spell. Hers is on a 3 or 4 up, target enemy unit within 12 has to spend double commandees, which is a great ability. And she can like kind of almost fight as well. So I think she's noteworthy. Nighter Shrouds and Nighter Shrouds on Ethereal Steed. It's possible I'm being too like sweeping, you know? A lot of the times if I'm reading new stuff, I'm just like, this sucks, move on, and then I like think about it for a little while and alright, was I being too hasty? I don't think I have any reason to consider playing either of these things. And they used to be kind of the backbone heroes of the army. They gave your like combat buffs, pretty much. But as far as I'm concerned, these units simply don't do anything, and that's it. Like, look, a specific free command ability per turn is like kind of okay, I guess, but they don't bring anything unique at all, and they don't cast spells. They used to give out like bonus attacks or bonus to hit, or they used to do something, and now they don't, which is very sad. Shelf zone, you do nothing, good day, sir. What the fuck are you even for? But, hey, does anyone play Nighthaunt in this chat right now? Explain to me why I'm unreasonable in saying these guys suck. And I'm very willing to listen, because I don't want them to suck. Dr. Dark Match thinks I'm being too hasty. Okay. Great. How come? What's the defense for these guys? KOS can actually nuke the enemy. Night of Shrouds? And in what way? Like once per battle round they can use a command ability for free. Alright. In the combat phase, they get to, like, they bring along somebody else to fight, like that classic, you know, bring along your person to fight thing. And, they, like, heal, I guess, if they kill something. But they don't actually buff any guys. They don't cast spells. They don't, like, have an ability. They just have like 5 attacks. They have like Stormcast Foot Hero attack profile at 1 inch. Is there like a smash bat possibility with something like this? Like we layer them up? I don't think I'm going to be running out of command points in this army. I mean, maybe I will, but 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1-2 doesn't feel to me like a smash bat contender starting stat line. From what I was remembering for these, like I guess you could, like, is there, you know, you can reroll hit and wound rolls against non-death. And death armies are rare, so usually you get to do that. And then maybe, you know, you can make it Ren 3 if you're roll the bravery thing, I guess. But it's still just like, you're still just doing like 4 damage at the end of the day, which doesn't really excite me. Check Giga. Alright, let's see. As the general's Spiteful Spirit, he can become anytime he takes a wound, he gets to roll his max wounds with... Oh, this is... Alright, Spiteful Spirit. Is this the durable porcupine hero we were talking about before? That I didn't think existed, but we said it could be cool if someone did? Yeah, Spiteful Spirit. At the end of the combat phase, if this general was allocated any wounds that were not negated during that phase, you can roll a number of dice equal to the wounds characteristic of this model. Which is what? 5? Yeah, so you roll 5 dice. Well, okay, we'll pretend it's the dude on the horse, right? So 6 of them. So you roll 6 dice. And it's only, yeah, if it was allocated any wounds that were not negated that phase. For each 4-up enemy unit within 6 of this general suffers 1 mortal wound, so 3 mortal wounds. Anytime he kills a model in a combat phase, his max wounds go up by 1. Okay. So his max wounds become 7. And it's happening in the combat phase, so that counts, I think. So if you could throw him into battle really fast and keep him alive, he'd start rolling 6 dice anytime he takes unsaved combat damage to do roughly 3 mortals to all enemies within 6, and he gains a wound every phase he does damage. Meaning you could easily get that to 10 up dice. I don't know if you could easily get that up to 10 up dice. The part that I'm concerned about is the massive hand-waving of if you could keep him alive. And continuously killing models with this. This isn't exactly like the Sylvaneth Umbral Spell Portal rolling 20 dice and doing mortal wounds with it to most of the table kind of thing. And he only gets that in the combat phase. Is there a way to damage himself, I wonder? Can we deal damage to him somehow to trigger this from safely behind enemy lines? Because I think he's just going to simply die. That's the problem with this combo. Is that he gets into combat, fights a little bit, and then their countercharge kills him. From full life. Even if he's at 8 wounds, like, I feel like he's... Also, he has to be your general, so now, you know... The battle tactic they're going to choose is to kill the general one, and they're going to send the real hammer after. I don't know. Let's see. Tay Barracuda, thanks for gifting a sub. I appreciate it. This feels like a combo for a... Feels like a combo for a 600-point game. Like, this guy could be cool doing that. I don't know about 2K. I'm going to give it... I'm going to give it at least a clap, because it's a, I mean, it's a clever use of game mechanics, right? At very least a clap.
Please clap.
And let's see, what else are they saying? They're saying, like, you could teleport him? Yeah, but after you teleport, I guess you could make a 9-inch charge. Yeah, so yeah, they say it's high risk reward. I agree. I think the reward is okay, and the risk is really high. It's, maybe I'm just risk averse with my stuff. That could be it. I want to see someone try to do this, though. If someone has a clever little interaction that could be good, and all you have to do is, like, play differently, right? And build your entire army around it. I want to see it on the table. I want to see it happen. Because what I most enjoy in the game of Age of Sigmar is people coming up with cool combos and then trying them out, and it happens to be good in real life, and I lose to it. Like, that's fun. Might as well go all in and give him a soul firing. Yeah. So essentially, we're building our entire army around, and playstyle around, a starts at 6 wound hero doing 3 mortal wounds to 1 enemy unit once a battle round. I don't know. I don't know about that one. But I'm not going to shit on it. I think it could be cool. Just had an amusing realization. This is the one book or all of those goofy abilities that reduce enemy bravery might be good in it, and it doesn't have any. Yeah, I know. Oh no. Yeah, Realm of Thorns, you are right. This is not the special Olinder like sub-faction in the Forbidden Power book. This is the one faction where all of those bravery penalties could have been... Bravery Bomb could have actually been a thing. And you get like none of them. You get an ability that really, really wants you to have them, Aura of Dread. And there are some bravery, like, you're rolling a die and then comparing something's bravery to it abilities that really want that, and then there's just not a lot of negatives to bravery anywhere. And that's unfortunate. That's very sad. And a good point. Yeah, and we might have just glazed over it, but... Lord Texm Executioner. Guardian of Souls is still, like, auto-include. Amazing. Guardian of Souls. Auto-include. Now and forever. Even after sleeping on it. From initial reaction. He is the hot shit. Add 1 to wound rolls for Night Hunt units, wholly within 12. So he is a combat buff. He also has a spell, because he is a wizard. And the spell regenerates guys. Yep, this is it. This is the guy. This is what you want. He has a combat buff and he's a wizard. Holy shit, finally. It took so long to get there. Lord Executioner... 5/3/3/2/2. Okay. He's a Stormcast attack hero, I guess, with -1 to wound roll thing. It was a 5-up ward, that's okay. But no. Hold up, let me think. Could it be that... Alright, let's enter the spin zone for a second. Let me try to spin that combo that I said wasn't very impressive. Let's try to spin it to being good. Alright. I'm gonna create a stinger for the spin zone in the future, I guess. A 5 attack, 2 damage foot hero is great, actually, and worth trying to make into a kind of a, well, not really a smash bat, but like a, you know, giving him +3 damage every time he's in combat and isn't slain somehow. Like, that's good because first he attacks and then a unit near him attacks. And that's good because that's damage. And your units in, like, your war scrolls, I'm talking Night Hunt war scrolls, their damage is so shit for what they cost that even some dinky-ass Stormcast foot hero attack profile ghost hero, like, even that amount of damage is, like, probably the same amount of damage a 10-man unit for 175 was going to do anyway. And so, really, that is good in the context of this army, because your units are so pillow-fisted anyway that your random-ass hero combos are good, actually, because they're, like, doubling your damage during combat. So, yeah, maybe that is good. All right, we've been in the spin zone, and that's my spin zone take on it. Krollghast Cruciator. These guys are 155 or 175? Help me out here. 150, okay. This thing... So, in the way that this was a trap, this Quicksilver Dead thing was a trap against wards, I feel that Krollghast Cruciator is not necessarily that much of a trap. Because so many things have more than one damage characteristic, and lowering it totally neuters that unit. It's brutal, this debuff. I mean, it's one of the reasons why Seraphon is probably the best army. But they get it army-wide. This one is very specifically unit within 12, attached to a dude who can't cast any spells or do anything else. But he is a totem. So he feels like a trap in the way that Liquid Mercury up there is, but I don't think he is as much of one. And so I'm putting him in because it pains me to say this, because I lose to this guy, but this guy's good. He is good with a capital G. In fact, he is good. Slap a fucking arcane tome on this guy and send him off to the races. He is good. 150, fine. He kind of feels like somewhat of a trap like that other thing is. I'm calling my shot. I don't think he is. Maybe it's because I directly just lose to stuff like him, and maybe I'm in my own bubble playing Beast Claw or whatever, so if that's true, then okay. Maybe consider the source. But he seems very good. Oh, Vince Venturella has shown up in chat. Well, okay. Has been lurking, but walks out of the La Brea tar pits like the Terminator to say that, is Thunder Lizards good? Is Thunder Lizards the best army in the game? Is this that ability? Yeah. Yeah. There was a chat delay. I did mention that, but yes, those are both true. Now, Thunder Lizard gets the double shoot with stuff, and it has a bandolier of silver bullets and all sorts of other stuff, but one of the big reasons Thunder Lizards is so good is because if you are one of those armies that relies on multi-damage, you're just sort of like, actually shit against them from deployment onwards, and it's just their whole army almost. And it doesn't feel good. Luckily, this is just one guy. But I think he's good. You can also stack this. Yep. I mean, it's to a minimum of 1, but if you're chilling on 4 damage, I guess you could pass out Krollghast Cruciators like I'm trying to pass out marking judgments in paragraphs. All right, Kurdos Valentian, probably too expensive, but I like him. Is that so wrong? Am I wrong to like Kurdos? He is expensive. He has a big fucking hammer. Ren 3, damage 3. Ogre Neuron activates, and I'm like, this guy's cool. And he fucks with people's command points. Which is always fun. But I don't know, can't give him stuff. I think he unlocks the Shudo battle line, which didn't seem that good, but I'm poor at determining whether shooting units are like really good or not. Reikenor is fun, I like him. I think you mean King Leoric. Yeah, King Leoric. And then Lady Overpriced. That is her name. Lady Overpriced. But it's still early, you know, maybe people will start winning with her and I'll change my tune. But at this exact moment, I dub her Lady Overpriced. Her abilities are fun. Her attacks and stuff are fun. I like Grief Stricken. I like Lifting the Veil. I like a 4-up ward, that's for fucking sure. I don't like 7 wounds on a 300-point model, but alright. But I like her a lot, and if I was building a Night Hunt army, I would probably include her, so maybe I'm a hypocrite. They were hypocriting. Anyway, initial list I'm building, because I gotta go pretty soon. Emerald Host. For sure. Ahem. Emerald Host. Lady Olinder. Guardian of Souls. Tomb Banshee. With Spectral Tether so it can teleport. Triple Scriptor Mortis. Triple Grimghast Reaper, quad Mirmorn Banshees. 1970. Let's go. It is a meme. But, imagine not playing a meme with your testing process when a book just comes out. Anna, thanks for the first time chatting. Appreciate it. You have arrived at the worst time. Anna, I apologize. In fact,